the way we talked, what we can say, amendability debate. Now, once again, you will have some cases. Let's say you have to understand it. There are so many such cases, although let's say not too many. But let's say too many things are linked to that. Reservation, social justice, it is linked. Social justice is a separate topic, you know that it is linked. Time to time debates you can find. So knowledge is also needed so that you can understand the debates. Let's say various types of debates, reservation, this and that, reservation politics, and all these things. It also helps in that aspect. Plus, we expect already they have asked question in past. We expect also question. There are some technicalities also. This. So, first thing, let's say we'll talk the basic things which you know about Article 15 and 16. That what they talk. This. Thereafter, you know that we'll talk that about backwardness. Let's say backwardness. After all, let's say what is that backwardness and why reservation we decided, then how we have gone into categorizing people to give reservation. This, and then we'll come to, let's say, those case laws, because on the one hand, governments were introducing reservation. On the other hand, that step was getting challenged in the court, and courts were passing their judgments. So when courts were passing their judgments, so those things started giving, let's say, case laws that you have. Plus, time to time, backwardness has been taken in different way. Then it is another evolution, let's say that. Evolution of, let's say, nature of backwardness. How we categorize the society. This. And then we finally come to EWS reservation. That level. This. Then reservation was given largely, let's say that you can say that reservation in case of educational institutions, employment, let's say that. So employment, so Article 15 and 16, if you talk the difference, let's say that. The difference is that 16 is about employment. This, you can get, let's say that reservation in employment. But 15 is that you can get reservation in elsewhere. Elsewhere can be, let's say, educational institutions also. Means in the non-job categories, you can say this. So both have nexus, you can say that. 15 and 16, both try to eliminate discriminations. Right. But one is general, so broad, and other is specific. Equality of opportunity. This. And both have similar evolution, you can say. The clauses were added in them. So both have nexus, you can consider. That way we have to say. Although separately we'll also deal about Article 16, and we'll talk also about substantive and this equality. So there I will talk. When we'll take reservation, equality, efficiency debate, we have been expecting a question from this perspective. So there basically we'll deal with BK Pavitra. Case 1 and case 2. This, and there it is, equality is defined, substantive equality and called quantitative equality. This equality भी दो तरीके से होता है. This, basically these all debates are that कि how to make society better. Simple आप पूरे generic sense में समझोगे. Right. All these things we are trying to make society better. This, how it can be better, this you can consider. Then this EWS reservation, and these are some questions left after judgment of EWS. So that also we'll talk. So let's take this. So it says that there should not be any discrimination on, let's say, in the name of religion, race, caste, sex, or them. it has same, right? It will have this. So let's take that, okay? X plus, right? It has this means equality of opportunities should not be denied, right, in the name of religion, right, race, caste, sex, place of birth, and descent. Yes. So this you can see. So it is in general, it promotes equality. It is about equality of opportunity. So it has its own our societal significance. No. Basically, Article 15, if you talk in generic sense before going to reservation. So after Article 15 is relevant because you know that it says ki ghat or whales, right? This, what we can say, restaurant, that's a public place, restaurant, घाट, क्या क्या नाम वो लिखते हैं उस पे, right? Yes, yes, because generally ऐसा होता है कि जो untouchability practice था, because of untouchability whales, let's say that जहाँ पे कुएं होते हैं, घाट होता है, वहाँ पे लोअर कास्ट के लोगों को नहीं जाने दिया जाता है. So it specifically mentions those things. जैसे even रेस्टोरेंट है, पब्लिक प्लेस है, let's say कि so या हैंड पाइप है, let's say that you can find they were not allowed. It mentions, it has a general relevance. This means in a way it is trying to eliminate a parochial society, a feudal society, you can say that, nature, or it is trying to eliminate prejudices from society. Yes. So that I can be considered. And then state, let's say it says, especially in, if you know that, ki first two clauses, then clause 3 says that ki weaker section, steps can be taken for weaker section, especially women and children. This, the clause 3, if you read, it says that the state can take any special endeavor, special policy intervention to for weaker section, especially women and children. This. Then you should know that there is Article 46. Right. And Article 46 talks that state should, right, intervene for, let's say that those who are backward class, backward, this you can say socially, educationally, including, let's say, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. This. So Article 15 and 16 should be read along with Article 46. Because Article 46 envisages that states should take steps to eliminate backwardness, you know that, backwardness from society. That backwardness can be social, economic, let's say that, including, let's say that, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. This. In fact, let's say that it is not Article 46 only, you know that. In fact, DPSPs aim at welfare state. And we told you about redistribution of wealth, elimination of concentration of wealth, redistributive justice, 39B and C if you take. Right. So 38 talks about social order and 39B and C talks about redistributive justice. redistributed justice. It means, let's say that when we got independence, so constitution has itself mentioned that states should take some special policy intervention. Right? States should take some special policy interventions for right, backward classes, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, women, children. This is how we can say this. This we can say this, right? Now, so government, what it did is, let's say, government, a revolution we can talk about. Evolution of reservation. If you see evolution of this, it is even 902 etc. before independence, let's say. Reservation was introduced, Kolhapur, let's say that. It was introduced by this, then Mysore, let's say that. Other, let's say. So there were reservations, let's say that, introduced even before independence. Right? This. Then government 51 introduced reservation. Introduced reservation. This, which was challenged, let's say that. It's a case law. This, it was challenged, which is known as this. So in Champkam Dorai Rajan, it was a case even before Shankari Prasad decision law. And in this, when reservation was introduced, it was considered as violative of fundamental rights. Right. Hence, in Champkam Dorai Rajan case, reservation was struck. So when it was struck, that is how First Amendment was carried out. This, when it was struck, so First Amendment was carried out. And by First Amendment Act, Article 15, Clause 4, Article 16, Clause 4 added. This. And that is how it was mentioned, let's say that, there, about, let's say, reservation to social, especially backward class. The government mentioned, right, by amending this, if you read Article 15, Clause 4, this, it mentions about, like, backward class, right, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. So it mentions that, this, and that is how reservation continues by First Amendment Act. Means First Amendment Act allows, let's say, reservation to backward class and scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. This, let me tell. यहाँ पे क्या किया कि उन्होंने जो इस रिजर्वेशन स्ट्रक किया था वो बैकवर्ड क्लास का किया था, शेड्यूल का, शेड्यूल ट्राइब का नहीं किया था. राइट. ओबीसी वाला रिजर्वेशन उन्होंने स्ट्रक कर दिया of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe reservation. They continue because it was easy to identify scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. But backward class, what should be the backward class, let's say, that was not clear. So that is how it was not allowed. It was struck. That's why government added by this amendment to allow reservation, even backward class. This, but it was not yet implemented, you know that. Amendment was done, but it was not yet implemented. What government did is, government set up a committee. Kaka Kalekar Committee. And Kaka Kalekar Committee, let's say that it was set up in 1953 and it identified, let's say that, 2,399 castes as backward castes. This backward caste. How it identified social educational backwardness? Basically, it kept caste as basis. Since it kept caste as basis for defining, let's say that, let's say in caste hierarchy, it should be low, its educational attainment should be low, its government service representation should be low. So since it made caste hierarchy, let's say that, in caste hierarchy it has a low status. So somehow it was considered that the committee identified social educational backwardness or backward class on the basis of caste. And the caste should not be basis of backwardness. This should be. Then let's say that the next case comes here. So that is how Champakam Durayarajan case. Then the next case comes here is called Balaji case. Balaji case. So Balaji case was related to, let's say that, basically by that time in southern states, including Tamil Nadu, they had introduced reservation, and that reservation crossing more than 50%. This, like 69% in Tamil Nadu, you can say that. This. So since they were crossing, so there were briberies. That is how Balaji case comes. And in Balaji case, let's say that for the first time it was told that reservation should not cross 50% limit. This, it sets, let's say that 50% limit. Now, since here caste became basis, let's say, to identify, caste became basis, so government did not accept the report. The report was not accepted. We were saying two things side by side. Reservation history, case law history, right? Reservation, let's say, first time government introduced reservation. When it introduced reservation without identifying who are backward classes, so that is how Champakam Durayarajan case in that court strikes it, because backward class is not identified. Although scheduled caste, scheduled tribe reservation was continued. It means the government should identify who are backward. The Kaka Kalekar committee was constituted, and that committee identified 2,399 castes as backward class on the basis of, let's say, as I told that, low hierarchy in caste structure, low educational attainment, and other things which are not important. Important is Indra Sawhney case. These are background. So, since caste was being made as a basis to define backwardness, the government itself did not accept the report. This, it means that this agenda was still left. Reservation for OBC was still left, and reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe was going on. Meanwhile, states, let's say, states started giving reservations at their level, and they are even giving reservation more than 50%. like 69% in Tamil Nadu case, let's say. And those laws were kept under Schedule 9. So that there will not be judicial review. And Shankari Prasad case in which the court had justified Schedule 9. Hence, let's say that if you keep a law in Schedule 9, it is out of purview of judicial review. That is how it was happening. The Schedule 9 also comes into picture. The Schedule 9 and the states are giving reservation, now giving more than 50%. At national level, we have not yet identified that who are backward classes, right? For that identification of backward classes, finally in 1979, Mandal Commission is constituted. Yes. Mandal Commission is constituted. And Mandal Commission goes on identify OBC category, let's say that. It identified OBC category, OBC, right, on the basis of some criteria, right. Some criteria, social, economic, and educational. Right, on the basis of social, economic, and educational. Right. And it identified 3,741, I guess. ऐसा ही होगा थोड़ा बहुत. मतलब its facts are not biased. 43. This. So basically it identified 3,743 castes as backward class. Kaka Kelekar committee ne 2,399. Now by that time you have now 3,743. Right? Were identified. Right. And it recommended reservation 27%. Right. It recommended reservation as 27%. Now, why it recommended reservation in 27%? This you should also know. So already reservation for scheduled caste was 15%. Reservation for scheduled tribe was 7.5%. So OBC reservation was 27%, so that it does not cross 50% limit. It should not cross that 50% limit. That was it, let's say that. Right. And now let's say when this reservation was introduced, it is challenged. Right. And that becomes the most popular case in this is called Indra Sawhney Case. Right. So Indra Sawhney Case, let's say that 1992 separately will tell you about the features. Just we are giving an evolutionary view. Right. Now let's take that in Indra Sawhney case. You know that reservation when it is given to OBC, so क्या नहीं हुआ था इस देश में, right? Protest, self-immolation, burning, this and that, all sort of things happened. This. Anyhow, so court goes on staying the reservation for 2 years. Right? No need to write all these things. Court stayed the law for 2 years. That unless judgment is given, the law will not be implemented. But आजकल ऐसा नहीं होता है. पहले के कोर्ट और आज के कोर्ट में बहुत ही फर्क. Right. And they justified the constitutionality of OBC reservation. This on the ground of social and educational backwardness. They reiterated 50% ceiling. Plus other judgments were also given, which I will separately talk, right? This. So now OBC reservation is constitutionally valid. Meanwhile, since reservation was started by Janata government, implemented by VP Singh government, this, and then when let's say that Narasimha Rao government came, it introduced 10% reservation on economic criteria. That was also challenged in Indra Sawhney case. That was struck by the Supreme Court. Means before EWS reservation now, already once there was attempt to introduce economic based reservation, and that was struck by the Supreme Court. Yes. So we have to also look why it was struck that time and how it is valid this time. Right? However, let's see, OBC reservation was made constitutionally valid. It means we have to go further ahead, let's say that. So let's take thereafter what happens. So Mandal Commission, Kaka Kalekar, this is how the evolution. Now what we have done is we have clearly identified OBC. Here we were not having clear identification of OBC. We gave also some, let's say that facts on what basis we can define OBC. We did not know that how to define OBC. This we can say. And now it is well established that reservation should not cross 50% because 50% was also reiterated in Indra Sawhney case, right? It is the main, let's say that case you can consider. It is a landmark judgment you can say in case of reservation. Now thereafter further development happens. Further development happens that this. Now you should know that the first amendment was carried out to give reservation a validity, but OBC reservation was introduced without amendment. OBC reservation was introduced without amendment. Now government goes on introducing reservation. Right. For that it brings 93rd Amendment Act. And it adds now Article 15 Clause 5, 16 Clause 5. Right. Is it clear? Now these reservation means now by 93rd Amendment Act, government was giving reservation in educational institutions, higher educational institutions, including IITs. Yes. IITs, central universities, that is how it was done. Right. This. So now this constitutionality was challenged. This. So this law was challenged, which came to be known as Nagraj case. Sorry, IR Coehlo case. Right, 2006. और ये यूपीएससी में आ चुका है ये स्पेसिफिक केस दिस मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. Anyhow, IR Coehlo case came, which 93rd Amendment it was challenged whether it is constitutional or not. Because let's say it also had, let's say, covered education in, let's say, reservation in unaided institutions, as well as, let's say, that creamy layer was not, let's say, that defined. This. Therefore, court in this went on justifying 93rd Amendment. 93rd Amendment was made constitutionally valid. This. And at the same time, once again, court reiterated 50% limit plus creamy layer will also apply. Right? Since creamy layer was not mentioned, so creamy layer will also apply. That is how in it is judgment it talks. And it defines that how there is a link between Article 14, 15 and 16. This. So that way we can consider that the judgment was important. And another important thing was told in this judgment was that Schedule 9 will be subject to judicial review. आफ्टर केशवानंद भारती केस लोग भूल गए थे बेसिकली, गवर्नमेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल एक्सपर्ट्स, तो आईआर कोएलो केस ने उसको रिवाइव किया, दैट कि एनी लॉ विच हैज बीन केप्ट अंडर शेड्यूल 9 सिंस 1973 24th April will be subject to judicial review, right? So that is how IR Coelho case, right? This now thereafter, let's say basically government carried out, let's say other, let's say that other cases related. Basically it was related to promotion, reservation in promotion. Yes. So reservation in promotion, etc. So then next case came is called as Nagraj case. Just after 1 year. Yes. And again here, let's say 50% limit was reiterated, plus it gave other conditions, I will tell you, right? In fact, Nagraj case justified reservation in promotion and reservation also in consequential promotion. Yes. Justified. Plus it reiterated 50% limit. Then thereafter, let's say we have cases. This 1 and 2, which I will tell separately. Finally, let's come to this. I think 2023, 29, 23. EWS case. Yes. Why? Because government carried out 100 Third Amendment Act for EWS reservation. This the government carried out 100 Third Amendment Act for EWS reservation, and then it is challenged as Janhit Abhiyan case. This. What you see? So we have, let's say, steps like this. The First Amendment Act. We have First Amendment Act. Then we have 93rd Amendment Act. Then we have 103rd Amendment Act for reservation. Then cases if you take, तो we have चंपकम दोराय राजन. आप भूल भी जाओगे तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बालाजी केस याद रखना है, इसलिए कि बालाजी से ही लेट्स से कि बैलेंस बना कि 50% ceiling was set. Yes. Then it comes, let's say that कि Indra Sawhney case that time. Then IR Coehlo case, Nagraj case, and पवित्र case होना है ना होना है वो इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, क्योंकि आपको रिजर्वेशन पूरा ठीक से समझना है तो वो आता है, नहीं तो उसका भी कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं है. उसके बाद डायरेक्ट आता है जनहित अभियान केस. यस. इसमें पूरे केसेस में इवोल्यूशन ये होता है कि पहले ओबीसी क्लियर नहीं है, फिर हम ओबीसी को डिफाइन करते हैं ग्रेजुअली, लेट्स से, फिर ओबीसी के रिजर्वेशन को. एक टाइम था कि चमकम दोराय राजन केस कि ओबीसी रिजर्वेशन वाज स्ट्रक. नाउ एक टाइम है कि इंदिरा साहनी केस, इट इज justified. Reservation is justified even in promotion also, you can say this for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, you can say. Then reservation has gone not only in educational institutions, it's not only in employment but also in educational institutions. Right, this you can say. And then finally, let's say reservation on the basis of economic criteria, right? This. Now let's understand it, how the backwardness, etc., they came to be defined. Then we'll come back to again this. इसको थोड़ा देर खोल दीजिए दरवाजा. Try to understand that backwardness जो भी है जैसे भी है, फर्स्ट टाइम जब इंट्रोड्यूस किया था रिजर्वेशन तो पता नहीं था. जब काका कह लेकर कमेटी ने कास्ट के बेसिस पे डिफाइन किया तो रिजेक्ट हो गया. अब मंडल कमीशन had to define on different standards this. The Mandal Commission tried to define social educational backwardness means ki OBC backwardness on the basis of let's that ki taking 4 social criteria, 3 educational criteria and 4 economic criteria. Means it took total 8 and 3 11 criteria, let's say that. It identified total 11 criteria in which it had social criteria, educational criteria and economic criteria. Right. You have to understand that economic criteria stand alone cannot be a criteria. At the same time, social educational backwardness cannot be defined without taking economic criteria as well. But backwardness at first place is social. This you should know that. The social backwardness is basis for all other backwardness. Yes. The way we told that justice, the justice what we say? Social, the social backwardness. What is social backwardness? Right. The social backwardness is related to your living, let's say that, society, status in society. This, your, let's say, culture, living standard. Living standard, you know that. This, and social backwardness is basis for other backwardness. Let's say because of social backwardness, you are educationally backward and you are economically backward. Why? Because of social backwardness, let's say your status has remained low in society. Since your status has remained low in society, so that has become basis for other forms of discriminations, like say untouchability practice, or let's say that certain category of jobs are done by only those people belonging to particular, let's say strata of society, you can say that. Like say manual scavenging and other things you can say, or housemates, you can say that the housemates, others working will find this, and they are, let's say, the way you have Shudra, you can consider Shudra, you can say that. That is how it is being identified. Is social, let's say, backwardness is basis for educational and economic backwardness. Right. And the court also told, while passing the judgment in Indra Sawhney case, the court also reiterated the same, that backwardness is social, then educational and economic criteria stand alone cannot be basis for reservation unless there was any structural discrimination. It had one rider. Unless that class, that, let's say, people have faced, let's say, any structural discrimination in society. But what is structural discrimination? We'll talk later. So you should understand that social educational backwardness means, let's say that. What is that social and educational backwardness? How will understand it? What is called economic backwardness? How will understand it? I generally give one example. Let's say that. At this stage to explain it. So, which I generally take that class, Rahul Dhote photo is also there, I can show it. So let's take that one student becomes IAS and he belongs to very backward area, right? And he studied and he did hard work, right? और आप वो सारा जो न्यूज़पेपर में आता है सक्सेसफुल स्टोरी, रिक्शा पुलर का लड़का IAS बन गया, ठीक है, कॉबलर का बच्चा आईएएस बन गया, ठीक है, अच्छी बात है, आईएएस बन गया। अब उसकी शादी जो मैरिज होता है एक दूसरे आईएएस से होता है, और वो आईएएस जिससे शादी होता है, शी बिलोंग्स टू ऑलरेडी एन आईएएस फैमिली, सपोज, राइट? द बॉय इज, लेट्स से, द बॉय इज फ्रॉम रिक्शा पुलर हाउस फैमिली, तो सर्टेनली उसका सोशल एजुकेशनल स्टेटस लो होगा. And the girl is from, let's say, another IAS family and she has become IAS. So जो उस फैमिली का लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड होगा, राइट, और उस बॉय के घर का लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड होगा, आईएएस बनने के बाद भी वो लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड चेंज नहीं कर सकता है. ये और बात है कि सोफा आ सकता है इटाली से और स्पेन से, लेकिन ओवरऑल जो लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड है, जो बोलने का तरीका है, जो खान पान का तरीका है, जो खाना बनाने का तरीका है, ठीक है, अब उन लोगों को पास्ता खिलाओगे अपने मम्मी पापा को तो खाएंगे नहीं, ठीक है. और जो आईएएस की फैमिली के है वो उस फैमिली का खाना नहीं खा पाएगी, रहे जिस तरीके से होगा वो भले खा सकते हैं. अब मैरिज के बाद जो प्रॉब्लम होगा वो सोशल कन्फ्लिक्ट होगा, इसलिए कि जो रिक्शा पुलर का फैमिली है वो डायलेक्ट्स में बात करेगा, उसके सही एक्सेंट नहीं होगा, राइट, जो भी एक्सेंट होता है. जो आईएएस की फैमिली की वो है वो तो मान लो कि सब कुछ परफेक्ट है, isn't it? This, she will have perfection in everything, right? So but that family properly वो बोल भी नहीं सकते, वो अपने लोकल भाषा में बोलेंगे. अब आप उनको सिखाओगे कि हिंदी में बात करो, राइट, तो हिंदी भी प्रॉपरली नहीं बोल पाएंगे, और जैसे ही आप हिंदी बोलेंगे आप हंसने लगोगे, राइट. तो इससे क्या होता है कि तब वहां पे उनको हर्ट फील होता है, राइट, दे विल फील हर्ट इवन इफ उनका बच्चा आईएएस बन गया है, बट उस फैमिली को आप एकाएक पैसे से सोशली एजुकेशनली एडवांस नहीं बना सकते, राइट. इनफैक्ट उसके लेट्स से दैट कि और जो अपकमिंग जनरेशन है, अब उस पूरे फैमिली के जो रिलेटिव्स होंगे वो भी वैसे ही होंगे, अब वो शादी में जाएंगे और जो आईएएस का फैमिली के जो सारे रिलेटिव्स होंगे, ठीक है, तो आप समझ सकते हो, तो और शादी में क्या है माहौल होगा ये भी आप समझ सकते हो. ठीक है, राइट. तो ये होता है बैकवर्डनेस. अब वो भले अपने आप को आईएएस बन गया है, वो एडवांस हो गया है, बट पूरे फैमिली को रिलेटिव्स को वो एडवांस नहीं बना सकता है. इवन इफ वो एडवांस हो गया है बट उसका खुद का एक्सेंट, लेट्स से दैट, बोलने का तरीका, रहने का तरीका, खाने का तरीका, वो उस तरह से उस लड़की से मैच नहीं कर सकता, राइट. So this way, this is how it can happen. Like, although I don't want to bring my personal thing, but let's say कि my mother, she can speak in Hindi in tutti frutti, let's say whatever. Although she has learned a lot, अभी मैं देखता हूँ कि कुछ कुछ इंग्लिश के भी टर्म बोलती है, उनकी क्या बात है, ठीक है. My wife cannot speak Bhojpuri. This, my wife cannot speak Bhojpuri. I belong to Bhojpuri area, let's say that. And she, let's say, although she is very open, let's say that, but somehow she does not feel comfortable with Bhojpuri. That therefore, her talk with my mother is not very frequent. Right. My mother will say always that कि why you cannot learn, बाकी लोगों ने सीख लिया, आप क्यों नहीं सीखते, right. My daughter can understand a bit. She does not speak, but she understands this again. So the question is, there is no clash or conflict, let's say that. But just I will tell you, now we have since we belong to backward area, our way of eating, our way of cooking is very different also. She belong to, let's say, city and let's say that educated family, etc. Their style of cooking is very different. तो वी हैव समहाउ स्ट्रगल एंड लेट्स से कि तो उसमें एक छोटा जो इकोनॉमिकली नॉमिनल फैमिली होता है वो कैसे किसी भी चीज को कैसे बनाता है, तो वो आप यूपी बिहार के लोगों से सीखिए या उड़ीसा के लोगों से सीखिए, दिस. तो और वो जो हम लोग बनाते हैं उनको लगता है कि सिर्फ बॉइल्ड हो गया, दिस. So the question is that this is what you have to understand: social and educational advancement. And social and educational advancement cannot be achieved by economic advancement. This you have to understand. Right? And that is what they have tried to, let's say that tell to people by bringing social educational backwardness. That's why still in our society, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, etc., they can become IAS, but in society they will not get the same respect the way a higher caste gets respect. This. Because still that is how one IPS marriage in Madhya Pradesh belonging to, I think, a backward class. So IPS marriage procession were not allowed by the higher caste, and it was done with complete security bandobast. So this is what we have to understand: educational, social. Let's say that's why racial discrimination you have, na? Black community. The black community, let's say that in America, even if they can be president, he can be president also. Na? You can have a president also. But still, as far as status is concerned, so the white will never give equal status to the black. This. It is the presumption. This. And that is how they were trying to explain by social educational backwardness, distinguishing from economic backwardness. This. And that is what, let's say that they have made it as basis, and that is what, let's say we are talking here, this caste based. So what they are saying that, see, reservation should not be caste based. But how caste it become, caste based reservation it becomes? Because one caste can in entirety become socially educationally backward. That's why it has become very easy to tell that reservation is caste based, but it is not caste based. It is first social educational. But a particular caste can be declared in entirety as socially and educationally backward. This. That they have told, plus this cannot be unless there is a structural, let's say that problem. And they have tried to, let's say, primitive living standard, historical injustice, let's say, kacha house, all these low status in society. These are some criteria to define social and educational backwardness. Right? This. So that is how reservation, let's say that goes on. You find scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, we don't have to identify scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. It is clear because they are identified. So that reservation is given. Then let's say that another criteria was brought, that is called 50% criteria. The 50% criteria was brought so that there can be 50% merit and 50% reservation. This. So when we have 50-50, let's say that 50% open, 50% reservation, it says that it seems that it maintains balance. This. It maintains balance, you can consider. Plus creamy layer was also introduced. Creamy layer was also introduced in OBC reservation. OBC reservation. This. So these things were the things which we knew before Janhit Abhiyan case. Right? Now, what Janhit Abhiyan case does? The Janhit Abhiyan case means 103rd Amendment Act gives reservation only on economic criteria. So first challenge is, can economic criteria stand alone be a criteria, which they rejected in past. Indra Sawhney judgment. First. Second, it breaches the 50% ceiling, which time and again they have told that 50% since Balaji case. Right. So whether reservation can be breached, means reservation can be given more than 50%. That was the challenge in case of EWS. This. And then let's say that if reservation is given on economic criteria, how does it affect reservation to OBC, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe? Yes. So we will talk about that judgment, what happens. First, we will try to summarize a bit related to Indra Sawhney wala point, etc. The major things. Right. Then we'll take next. So let's write on this. Reservation since independence. Reservation since independence has evolved. Evolved as mentioned above. As mentioned above, of which reservation remained debatable on following points. First, what should be the basis to give reservation? What should be the basis to give reservation? By identifying backward class, backward class. Next, whether reservation can be given to more than 50%, Next, whether scheduled caste, scheduled tribe should enjoy reservation, including first reservation in promotion, and next within that reservation without creamy layer. Change paragraph. As far as reservation for backward class is concerned, it was introduced on the criteria of social and educational backwardness. That OBC should get 27% reservation. 27% reservation. It was challenge, which came to be popularly known as Indra Sawhney Case. Challenge, which came to be popularly known as Indra Sawhney Case. 1992. In bracket, 9-judge bench. It gave constitutional validity of OBC reservation on the basis of first Article 15-16. Article 15-16 should be read with Article 14. Article 14. Hence, reservation does not violate equality principle. Reservation does not violate equality principle. Next, 27% reservation. 27% reservation still maintain the 50% limit. The 50% limit set by Balaji case. Next, the court introduced creamy layer criteria. creamy layer criteria that OBC reservation should not apply to. Creamy layer. Yes, it was. It to Indra Sawhney case. IR Coehlo case is related to educational institutions. It was related to employment. Right. Creamy layer idea was introduced by Indra Sawhney case. This you should know. Creamy layer idea, that is those who have certain income and above, they should not enjoy OBC reservation benefit. Right. इसको बोलते हैं इसको मीन्स टेस्ट भी बोलते हैं. Means test means कि when you give reservation, so you have to see, calculate that कि whether that person has certain income limit. This, whether you say means test or whether you say creamy layer, it means the same. Right? This. Next. Yes. Next. To identify OBC, the government should create. To identify OBC, government should create a backward class commission. Backward class commission. Backward class commission. Change paragraph. The government took steps. As per Indra Sawhney judgment. Gradually there was expansion of reservation and demand of reservation. Expansion of reservation and demand of reservation by different sections of society. Then first by 93rd Amendment Act, the government introduced reservation in higher educational institutions. Government introduced reservation in higher educational institutions. Higher educational institutions, which were challenged, known as IR Coehlo case. In this case, Supreme Court gave following judgments. Like first, it validated reservation to higher educational institutions. Next. It established link between Article 14, 15 and 16 as touchstone of Constitution. Touchstone of Constitution. Next. There was a point I am forgetting. Yes, it reiterated that. It reiterated that. Reiterated that. Schedule 9 was subject to judicial review. Schedule 9 was subject to judicial review. Judicial review. Since April 24, 1973. April 24, 1973. Wait, next. Nagraj case. Nagraj case. 2007. It was related to. It was related to. Reservation in promotion. Promotion, which was validated by the court. Which was validated by the court. And it also set three criteria for giving reservation in consequential promotion. Consequential promotion. We'll talk you later what is consequential promotion. Next, in BK Pavitra, one and two. In BK Pavitra 1 and 2, the court came up with quantitative and substantive equality. Quantitative and substantive equality. Equality. Yes. Therefore, let's say, before Janhit Abhiyan case, the stand on reservation as per Supreme Court was as follows. Like first, backwardness is social. Backwardness is social and other backwardness are derived from social backwardness. Backwardness is social and other backwardness is derived from social backwardness. Next, economic criteria stand alone. Economic criteria stand alone cannot be basis for reservation unless there was structural problem. Next, reservation should follow 50% limit. Reservation should follow 50% limit. Next, to identify backward classes. Or categories of people. A commission should be constituted. Next, reservation aims at facilitating social justice. Hence, it does not violate equality principle. equality principle, as it should be read as Article 14 should be read with 15 and 16. फिफ्टीन एंड 16, ठीक है. This will help you understand EWS रिजर्वेशन. तब आप उसको अच्छे से समझ पाओगे कि वो क्या रिजर्वेशन है, वो सही है कि नहीं है, होना चाहिए नहीं होना चाहिए. प्लस देन कि क्या रिजर्वेशन ही बेसिस है सोशल जस्टिस के लिए, या हम सोशल जस्टिस अचीव कर सकते हैं और भी उससे बेहतर तरीका है. बस that way we can say. Then whether reservation has been more as a populist aspect, vote bank politics, which already you know, that part we don't have to talk much, but you know this. So these things will take tomorrow and finish finally tomorrow, all these things. Right? So let's finish here.